Hi everyone, this is Ifama Odilami, immigration attorney from the Odilami Law Firm in Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. I'm here because I have a topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and today I'm going on two platforms. I'm going on Instagram and I'm going on Facebook and YouTube. So this is my first time on Instagram, so I'm not really sure how it works, but we'll give it a try, and if it works, then we'll do it another time. So uh, today is Good Friday for those that, for Christians, wishing you a great ending of the Lenten season. So today I want to talk about what happens when your spouse, your U.S. citizen spouse, green card holder spouse, decides to withdraw their petition. What do you do? Now, this is a scenario that I see often in my office where a US citizen and their spouse who is here, I'm going to talk about people who are here in the United States because I'm talking about adjustment of status. You're married to a US citizen or you're married to a green card holder and you're here in the United States. They file the papers for you and then the relationship is not working out and then they say they're going to withdraw their petition. So the question is, what do you do? So first of all, let me explain how the process works. When your US citizen spouse or green card holder spouse files a petition for you, they file the form I-130, and then they also file the affidavit of support, which is the I-864. Then that's their petition. That's the forms that they fill out. Then the intended immigrant will fill out the forms for adjustment of status, which is the I-485, the I-765, the I-131. And those three documents are what allows you to become a green card holder. That's the green card petition. So sometimes you have a situation where an I-130 is approved, right? Because a person filed just the I-130 and that's it. That doesn't give you anything. The I-130 only establishes the relationship. You know, if you're married to a US citizen and they a green card holder and they file an I-130 and it's approved, all it says is that you have shown on paper that you are indeed married to the person. You haven't shown that it's a bona fide marriage, really, and also it doesn't give you a green card. So if your spouse is here in the United States, typically what you do if there are no inadmissibility issues are to file the I-130 and the I-485, 765, 131, all of those papers in one step as a one-step process. So when you file that, at some point, they're going to call you and your spouse for an interview. And then that interview is the marriage interview, also known as the adjustment of status interview. If that interview, if you guys pass it and everything goes well, then you get a green card. Now, what happens if your spouse says, you know what, I'm done with this petition. I don't want to file for you anymore, and then calls USCIS and withdraws their petition? What do you do? Well, number one, what you need to understand is it is their petition. The I-130 is their petition, so they have a right to withdraw it. They can if they want to. They can even wait until the last day of the day of the interview and decide they're not going to go. You will never be approved on that I-130 petition that your spouse files for if they withdraw that petition. It doesn't matter if you have a dozen kids, how real the marriage is. If they withdraw their petition, you cannot proceed with the adjustment of status based on that petition. So that case would be over. However, there is hope for those who want to continue. There are ways to continue your petition by you self-petitioning, doing it on your own. And that help is called VAWA, Violence Against Women's Act. Now, VAWA is an acronym for Violence Against Women's Act, but it doesn't really apply only to women. It applies to men as well, children, parents. So when you hear VAWA, don't assume that it's only women. That's a false assumption. So now, if you are in a relationship with a US citizen or green card holder who is using the fact that they filed for you as a leverage, using it to blackmail, using it to control you, treating you badly because you're a citizen, you're an intended immigrant, and they are the U.S. citizen or green card holder, you could file for VAWA under VAWA because that's in a form of abuse. Now, if you know somebody who this is happening to, because this happens quite a bit, you have a fight with your spouse and they threaten you because they don't like what you said, what you're doing, and they threaten you with the fact that they're going to call USCIS on you, they're going to withdraw their petition, or on the day of the interview, they decide they're not going to go for the interview, they're not going to show up, or they show up to the interview and sabotage you. Bottom line is, if they do that, that I-130 petition will be, that's over. However, you can file an I-360, which is a VAWA petition, and proceed under VAWA. But you have to prove a few things. You have to, first of all, prove that, that the marriage is valid. I always tell people that if you're in a fake marriage, you cannot win a VAWA case. It has to be a real marriage, right? A legitimate marriage, which means that you entered into this marriage for the purposes of being with your spouse, not just for immigration purposes. You have to show that you've lived together with your spouse at some point. It doesn't tell you how long you have to have lived with them. At some point, you also have to show that there's been abuse in the relationship, either physical abuse or extreme cruelty. And extreme cruelty can be financial abuse. It can be psychological abuse, such as threatening you with withdrawing your papers, controlling you, trying to make you do certain things, because if they don't do it, if you don't do it, they will stop the paperwork. It could also be verbal abuse. Is your spouse, embarrassing you in front of people, embarrassing you on social media, texting you, being abusive, treating your children badly, treating your pet badly. It could also be sexual abuse. Are they forcing you to engage in certain kind of sexual conduct? Are they putting you at risk for STDs? Are they forcing you to have sex with them? Are they demanding you have sex with them at a certain time, whenever they want it? Are they telling you that because they're the U.S. citizen or green card holder, you must agree to do whatever they want? Are they forcing you to go to work when you don't want to, when you have no papers? Or are they making you work and taking your money from you? Are they, treating you badly? If this is you, or are they even putting you at risk of harm by, putting you in situations that are dangerous? Are they hitting you, pushing you, shoving you, making fun of your accent, mocking you, stopping your family members from reaching out to you? Any of this, together or by itself, could be, reasons to file VAWA. So if your spouse withdraws their petition, you can still go ahead and file a VAWA case. And your VAWA case and the adjustment of status can be moved to the VAWA case, so that you don't have to use that adjustment of status petition for the I-130. So I tell my clients, if this happens to you, don't panic. Look for an attorney who does VAWA cases, who's very experienced with VAWA cases, and tell your story. You may qualify to be able to self-petition. And what that does is it gives you power over your own future. You don't have to hope that your spouse is in a good mood so that they will show up for the interview. You don't have to beg them to do things. You don't have to act like feel like you're walking on eggshells around the house, because you know that if your spouse is upset with you, they may withdraw the petition, right? And if you file VAWA, guess what? Your spouse is not going to know, because VAWA is confidential. Now let's talk about a different scenario where you already got your conditional green card, which is the 2-year green card. You get the conditional green card if by the time your green card is approved, you've been married to your spouse for 2 years or less. So what if you're in a situation where you got your conditional green card, but the relationship is not working out, and you don't want to continue in that relationship because for whatever reason it's just not working out? Well, the good news is this: you don't have to stay in a bad relationship to maintain your green card. You can remove the conditions yourself through waivers. There are 4 waivers, right? But I'm only going to talk about 3, because only 3 will be pertinent in this instance where you and your spouse don't get along, right? Number 1, you can file a divorce. If you file a divorce, you can continue to remove your conditions from your green card on your own. You just have to show that it's a bona fide marriage, which means that you entered into this relationship, into this marriage, because you want to be with your spouse, not for immigration. You want to show that it's not a sham marriage. So if you file a divorce, you show and you show that it was a valid marriage, a bona fide marriage, you will get your green card. Another waiver is extreme cruelty or physical abuse. This is like VAWA. It's like a VAWA type petition. So if your relationship with your spouse, you've suffered extreme cruelty or physical abuse, you can, under those circumstances, petition, remove the conditions on your own without your spouse. Or the third scenario would be in a situation where you would suffer extreme hardship if you had to go back to your country. And I'll give you an example of extreme hardship. If you say you were from Ukraine and you're married to a US citizen, you're here and it's not working out. Well, at this point, it really would be extreme hardship for you to go back to Ukraine because there's a war there. So in that case, in a case like yours, you can file to remove the conditions, citing extreme hardship that will fall on you if you were to go back to your country. So basically, the bottom line is, if you're in a real legitimate relationship with a US citizen and it's not working out, there may be ways for you to continue on your own, and you want to talk to an attorney to see what your options are. There might even be other options. For instance, if you are the victim of a crime, right, which may not even have anything to do with your spouse, if you're the victim of a crime, you may be able to file under a visa called the U visa. Or if your spouse or anybody else, maybe you're working for somebody and they're forcing you they're making you work and they're not paying you enough money, or they're forcing you to, work certain hours and they're giving you like less than minimum wage, or they're not even paying you at all, you may be able to get your green card through the T visa, right? Or if somebody's if you're in a relationship where they're treating you like a house help, even your husband, forcing you to do work, not compensating you or something, there are many ways to get your green card without, having to go through your spouse. So if you or somebody is in this situation, don't panic. Don't be afraid. Call a lawyer, have a proper consultation, and you'd be surprised that sometimes the lawyer might be looking at a different angle to help you get your green card. So my office does a lot of VAWA cases, removal of conditions, U visa, T visa, special immigrant juvenile status, a lot of humanitarian based visas, and also, of course, filing for people who want to file for their family members. So if you or anyone needs assistance with your immigration papers, give us a call, 973-993-1900. Let me look at the comments here. Hi, Diane, how are you? So I'm still not really good at, I'm not really sure about how this works with Instagram. So I'm going to have to do some homework with Instagram. I think there's no comment, just people joined in. Okay, so that's really it for it. So if you have any questions, feel free to call my office, 973-993-1900. Also, you can join, make sure that you follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok, well, sometimes. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I don't see any questions here, so I will sign off, and I will be back next week. Take care.